Greetings. This is Kate from Felicitous Freelancing, and today I wanted to update you guys a little bit about my experience with CrowdSource. So I did a video previously when I had just started with CrowdSource, and I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about my experience so far and some of my opinions on how the site is structured, what kind of work there is, and how the pay is. So first of all, I thought I would start out by pointing out a few helpful sites that I didn't get a chance to talk about in the last video. So we're starting here at the worker forum, and this is somewhere you can go either before you filled out your application, if you want to go and kind of see what's going on with other workers on the site, how people feel the site is set up, what they think about the specific jobs, and that kind of thing. It has been somewhat helpful to me as far as different issues that I've encountered. I will say it is a little depressing sometimes looking at the forums. There are a lot of people who are taking the work more seriously, of course, and a lot of people who are really going at it every day trying to not just make some extra cash, but actually, uh, pay their bills with the money that they're making through the assignments on CrowdSource. So there are a lot of people who take the tasks very seriously, and therefore, when they don't feel um, they're liking the system or that they're being judged fairly, of course, they justifiably can get a little upset. So I would say take everything with a bit of, grain of salt if you haven't started yet. But you can go on there and see some of the issues that people are having so that you can avoid making the same mistakes that others have, and kind of avoid some of the issues that are out there. Now, I will say a lot of the discussion is about the tiered system, which we discussed in the first video. Um, your rating here determines how quickly you'll move up and when you'll move up. And I guess this system is new to the site. It's fairly new setup. So there are still a lot of people who are not really liking the way that it's set up, or they're feeling that it isn't quite doing the job that it was intended. So let's just go ahead and talk a little bit more about that. So as you can see here, in my last video, I went and did a whole bunch of tasks all on the first day. I just got really into it, found a lot of tasks that were interesting to me, a lot of questions that were relevant and that I had some knowledge on. But I would maybe recommend when you start actually going through and doing only a few at a time until you get the reviews back, because the reviewing process is pretty stringent. Um, they are looking for very particular style, very particular um, grammar and structure. It's all in AP style, which is fairly foreign to me. So I did kind of make this mistake of going through and writing a whole bunch at once. And I actually got several fails at first. And this is kind of the subjective part. It will depend on who's editing and how stringent the editor is, and also whether they feel that it should be written a certain way and you feel it should be written a different way. But I would recommend going through and doing a few at first, looking at some of those reviews that you get, and then going and doing some more. So you can kind of see here, some of these are the first ones that I did, and I did get a few fails. Since then, I've learned that I have to be more cautious and take things a little bit slower. Um, I was actually pretty worried the first week. Um, your pass rate has to be above a 60% or above to continue working on the tasks. At least that's what I've read. And I actually got down pretty close to 60. So, yeah, you can see here the minimum approval is 60%. So I actually got pretty nervous that I was going to have to come back and tell you guys that I had failed out in my first week, basically. But so far, I've had some better tasks. I still have like this fail here was for an older tasks, and I still have a few. Let me see, some of these pending ones here. Some of these were older. Like these were probably from the first couple days that I was doing them. So I'm still kind of worried about some of those that were the ones I did right out of the gate, and they have not been reviewed yet. So we'll see how that turns out. But I've been trying to take it a little slower, keeping in mind a lot of the AP style guidelines that I wasn't really aware of when I first started. So that's going to be my first recommendation for you guys is take it slow at first. Make sure you're reading the style guide. Make sure you're aware of all the little intricacies, like when you're discussing. I think I shared with you guys that I did a lot of video game questions. So when you're doing a video game title, it needs to be in quotes like this. Um, there were some issues with capitalization. I did a lot of questions about shiny Pokemon, and in my opinion, shiny should always be capitalized because it's more of a title versus an adjective, and so forth and so on. So there are some issues you need to be aware of. There is an area on each task for you to write a note, and after getting some of the reviews back where shiny had been changed, since then I've just put a note explaining my logic for why it should be capitalized, and I haven't had any issues after that. But there's a lot of little details like that that you need to keep in mind. Um, on the forums, I actually discussed in one of the different threads that they had, I feel like it would be a better system if instead of a pass and fail, they added a third category that was let's say exceeds expectations. And if you get the exceeds, that's when you're going to move up the ranks and go up in level, whereas a pass neither hurts you or hinders you, and a fail is like they're not accepting it at all. Because right now, the fails that I've gotten, I've still been paid for them. Now, if you just get something that's completely rejected, you don't get paid for it if you're plagiarizing, that kind of thing. So to me, it is pretty confusing that I failed something, but I still got paid for it. To me, that kind of, doesn't really make sense there. But like I said, this system is still new, so I think they're going to be working on it and adding some hopefully some new intricacies to it and trying to work out the kinks a little bit. So the second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about that I'm sure will be something of interest for you is how quickly the site pays. I got a little worried because I did a lot of the 100-word questions first, And those seem to take a long time to be reviewed. And once they're reviewed, then you get paid. I guess from looking at the forums, there's a lot of quality issues with the 100-word questions. I guess because they're kind of the easiest. So maybe a lot of people start out there. Because of the quality issues, a lot of the editors don't like doing the 100-word questions. So those were definitely slower. The 200 words, the step-by-steps, and the questions, I found that those got reviewed a lot quicker. Um, but the good thing is, once you have something that's reviewed, and it goes to your owed category. So you'll see, if I had one of these approved, it would say owed $5. And this pays out to your PayPal account every day. So if someone comes in and reviews these that I have pending today, let's say they reviewed all three of these and I was owed $15. Tomorrow when I wake up, I'll get an email and it'll say that I've had $15 added to my PayPal from crowdsourcing. So that was a really great surprise, actually. I initially thought they paid out weekly, but it actually pays out every day. So that's really convenient. You just have to keep in mind that it's not going to pay out the same day you do it, most likely, because it's probably not going to get reviewed the same day. Um, Other than that, though, I've actually, as you can see, I've done pretty well as far as the payments. Like I said, coming mostly from doing Amazon Mechanical Turk, I've made $300 there pretty much over the summer. And here at CrowdSource, I think I've made over 100 in just really about a week and a half. Last week I was sick all week, so I actually didn't really do many of the questions. So that to me is pretty good, and it's a lot more engaging than just answering surveys and that kind of stuff that you find on Mechanical Turk. So I do really like the pay, and other than the somewhat slow review process, um, I have found that part really satisfactory. You can also see, if we go back to find work, um, I noticed on some days, in addition to these, they'll also have the editor one tasks, which are basically just checking a question and answer very briefly. You're not going through and editing like the editors who will edit the first tasks you do. You're just checking to see, is the question a complete sentence? Are the answers complete? Does it seem legitimate, or is it just, somebody typing gobbledygook? And those, I believe, paid 10 cents each question that you checked out. So you can see I did 26 of those. Those are something really quick, something different. They don't pay very much, but you can get through them pretty quick. The only downside is I've only seen those one day. So I guess they come and go pretty quick. As far as the volume of the questions, however, it seems that they pretty much top these up. Um, at least every week, maybe multiple times during the week. I've rarely seen the 100-word questions get below 1,000. They will kind of creep down a little bit. But the 200-word questions will get answered a lot faster, of course, because they pay $5 and they get reviewed quicker. But as you can see here, they've been topped up again. They're almost back up to 1,000. So that's one good thing. You can somewhat rely, at least weekly, that there will be new questions and new things to answer. Um, Also, a third section of the site that I didn't really cover in the first video is the support side. So if you have an issue, one of the things that I learned from the forums is they are encouraging people, if you get a failed review and you feel that um, it's not a fail. You feel like you've been incorrectly marked on certain things, or you just don't think you are fairly reviewed. You can go in and you can start a ticket, put in the name of the task that you did, what the question was, and state why you think it shouldn't be a fail. And they respond, I would say, within a day or so. I've I think I've submitted maybe 2 or 3 tickets. They weren't actually all about fails. Only one was, but they were just about other issues or questions that I had, and they tend to get back to you within a day. So it's a fairly quick um, service support. So I was pretty pleased with that, and they get a fairly personal question. You'll see. Um, Let's see if I can go to one of my tickets. It's nice that you have, you actually feel like you do have a kind of conversation going. You get to see a name and a face and get a real answer back. It's not a robo feedback kind of thing. Um, so that I really like their support in that way. And as far as the fails, if you're contesting a fail, they do seem to be fair about overturning those fails. Because especially once you get up to the different levels, like let's say level 2, level 3, level 4, you can get knocked down pretty quickly with only a few fails. So if you feel like something really isn't fair, then just go ahead and file a ticket. If for some reason they don't agree with you, they'll let you know. But it never hurts to ask. You can at least get some explanation about what you did wrong. Um, so I do really, I have been really pleased with their support, and you can feel confident knowing that there is that for any kind of questions you have or any issues you have with the reviews. Um, Basically, to kind of wrap up, I do really like the site. I've enjoyed answering the questions. I enjoy searching out the info and being able to share the knowledge. Um, but the writing, um, the particulars of AP style have been a bit of a struggle, so make sure that you are familiarizing yourself with that before you really dive in. Don't make my mistakes and end up with a bunch of fails right at the start. Um, but other than that, I would recommend just signing up, giving it a try. Maybe it'll really suit you, maybe it won't. If you go ahead and sign up, if you do get a bunch of fails or um, you just don't see questions that you really like, then what's it lost? It's no big deal. You gave it a try, and maybe you will really like it. Maybe it'll be something that can really help add to your weekly or monthly income, give you a little extra cash, and give you some practice with AP style. So that's going to wrap it up for me. If you guys have any other questions, just let me know in the comments here or on the blog. If there's something specifically that you want to know about, I can do another short video or just respond to you directly. Um, Other than that, I will see you guys for the next video. Please make sure to comment or send me a message if there's any sites you would like reviewed or you want to hear more about so that we can work up some videos for the future. All right, guys, thanks and have a great day.